Let's just have a quick look at a nice little modification that allows us to run the late A plus gear sets in the remote style gearboxes. This is a 22G1128 box. This one happens to be the one that was destroyed in a few hundred miles in our new Mini Moke engine, unfortunately. Just suffered a bearing failure there is all we can figure. Everything was set up nicely, it was running perfect, and we were far away from home when something happened, and 60 miles it was driven back here to me, and unfortunately the howl had done its damage. But what we're doing here, we're using this case to show how the bore for the lay shaft looked before we do our little modification that lets us run the 3-step shaft with the bigger bearings along with the A plus gear set. It requires that we make a little cut right there, as we have done right here. It's not ideal with a flashlight, but we can see right here that we've made a nice little cut by taking our Dremel tool through this opening and just lining it up without any of these gears in the way here. Nice little straight shot or at a slight angle. You can just cut a little chamfer in that part of the bore there, and that's to allow our 3-step lay shaft. Let me reach over. That little chamfer lets this pop into place such that we can engage the slot here with the little tab that locates and locks it into place. You can see that slot there if I try to make the focus work. And we can see that that then puts us in the position to use the bigger lay gear along with the bigger thrust washer, bigger bearing over here, and the A plus gear set, allowing us to have a shot at getting some really nice gears, a very good condition main shaft with the big bearings up here, and should really be an enhancement to a lot of these old gearboxes when you just can't find complete old gear sets. They also have a notorious weakness of having a very tiny input gear here. Input bearing on the inside, the roller on the shaft, the 14mm shafts are notoriously trashed. And they're getting hard to find and very expensive, and oftentimes an easier and cheaper modification is to simply install a full A plus gear set, which lets you have the bigger bearing here, the bigger main shaft, as well as the bigger lay shaft with this modification right there. Reverse is unique to the 4-Synchros, but reverse engages with the outer collar here and with the straight cut first gear, so all those pieces are compatible. I'm going to run a 344 final drive here, a standard close ratio gear set, not close ratio, sorry, a standard A plus standard ratio, 17 tooth input, same exact ratio as would have been used in the older non-close ratio 1128 boxes. So that's the extent of the required mod to run the full A plus gear set. We can take a look. Interestingly, we've got the A plus set here. We can see how big the cut is in this bore for the A plus. They just kind of said, never mind it. They just took out a good 3/8 of an inch or more of a cut, leaving much less material here to support on this end, to support the lay shaft. Over here we can see that these things have a much deeper, you can see how deep that bore is that supports the lay gear, but this was deemed to be strong enough, and in fact you've hardly ever seen these things get damaged. So there we have it, another little modification, modernizing our old gearbox, hopefully resulting in something that's durable and ideally suited for our Mini Moke with our powerful engine.